Today, I wanted to tell you about the story of the scummiest character from the Flashpoint. You remember Flashpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Flash travels back in time to save his mother, ended up changing the entire universe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this here, her name is Enchantress, and she is about to meet her maker.
Mm.
This is, in my opinion, the scummiest character from this world.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how all of this started. Basically, the hero, one of the only heroes of this world, Cyborg, he was seeking the Batman
Mm-hmm.
to recruit him into this team that he was trying to put together to stop the war between Atlantis and Themiscyra.
Yes.
Here's that group of people that were being recruited by Cyborg, right? All of those kids that you see there on the left,
Mm-hmm.
they are basically the Shazam kids.
Oh, now I can see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Bean Sword, the Green Lantern, the guy with the ski mask is Blackout. You have Pied Piper, Citizen Cole, Element Woman, Sandman, Shade, the Changing Man, Enchantress, and the Outsider. Okay, basically, Cyborg got all of them together so he can give them the brief. Hey, this is what's going on. Themiscyra was lost in an attack from Atlantis. So they ended up invading England, and now they own that land and they call it New Themiscyra. Atlantis decided to go to war with New Themiscyra, so they invading by land, and it's like a whole problem out there, right? Cyborg was ordered, I think it was by the US president, to go stop the war. So that's why he's recruiting all of these people. All right, so he wants to know who is in. The first person that jumped to join the team was Element Woman, right? Then other people like Citizen Cole, they have their reservations about joining the war because of what they heard, what was going on in New Themiscyra, right? Like, I know they don't say it here, but behind Wonder Woman's back, people were being enslaved and put in concentration camps and all sorts of things. Then you have the Pied Piper willing to join the team, even though he had his personal differences with Citizen Cole. Then you have other people voice their opinion, right? Like Blackout, he had beef with the Outsider, but nonetheless, some of them were still willing to put the differences aside to join the fight. It was the turn of Shade, the Changing Man, right? He was the leader of Team 7, and before he committed to putting his team out there, he put it to a vote, right? And Enchantress, when Shay said yes, she said no, right? Hint. Okay? But Shay was like, no, let's put it to a vote. So Enchantress, of course, voted no, and the other team, Shay contacted them through his magic or whatever, and they ended up voting 4-3 on yes. So the Secret 7 was going to join the efforts, right? Then the Shazam kids, they decided to put it up to a vote too. So they summoned their champion, right? Shazam in his words called Captain Thunder. Captain Thunder is summoned, and immediately he says, I'm all in, because apparently those scars that he had on his face were given to him by Wonder Woman. So he already had beef. He already had problems with Wonder Woman.
Those are some bad scars.
Yeah, on the face? Yeah. And then Cyborg turns to Batman and says, all right, Batman, you're in? And Batman is like, hell no. You see this team? Yeah, Batman was like, hell no. He said, basically, everybody on this team has beef with each other. Y'all kill each other before you kill any Amazons or Atlanteans. Okay, so later, the Shazam orphan, or the Shazam family, along with their pet tiger, their indoor pet tiger, we're watching the news and hearing how bad the situation had gotten, and Billy Batson was kind of like reconsidering their decision of not joining the war, or how things ended up unraveling, right? However, I didn't tell you before, but people were like mocking and making fun of Element Woman, because she was like very eager and very happy-go-lucky that she was gonna be in a team and all that.
They're making fun of her because of that.
Yeah, like she was being a weirdo. Like that's how they were treating her. However, Element Woman actually saved by herself Batman, Cyborg, and Flash. because when they broke into the facility that was containing the Superman of this world, when they bust him out, they were left behind. He left them there. And she was there on the spot to save them from getting murdered from the guards. So even though everybody was making fun of her, she actually saved the day all by herself. But anyway, Flash was having some seizures from like the influx of memories from both timelines. So and they ended up taking him to the Shazam home because he was having these seizures because he was getting a flux of memories worth of like 2 timelines, right? So it was crashing out a little bit. So when they are in the home of the Shazam family, Billy decides to check in on Barry, right? And somehow Billy specifically had the speed of Achilles, right? And then his speed connected with Barry's speed force, and he was able to have like visions of the different worlds. And that's how he confirmed that what Barry was saying about this timeline and the world shouldn't be like this. That's how he confirmed that Barry was saying the truth. So he changed his mind along with the entire of the Shazam kids. Of course, Element Woman was still game. She was like, yeah. Let's go, more people.
I'm dead.
Barry looks at Batman, who is Thomas Wayne in this world.
Yeah.
And Thomas, like, he don't want to believe any of this, right?
Yeah.
And Flash convinces Thomas by manipulating him because he turns away from him and walks away. And he says, Bruce would have come. Right? And then you can see Thomas like squinting underneath the scowl like this motherfucker. So he says, Cyborg, wait, tell the others to meet us there. And everybody's like, oh, Batman actually coming. Because to them, Batman is like this mythological vigilante. Like nobody had ever seen him face to face before this. So they're kind of like a little bit intimidated by him. Anyway, they get on the jet. They're traveling to New Themiscyra for the war. And they reach to the other recruits that they are on their way there. And they need to like link up once they're on ground, right? And then the Enchantress says, unfortunately, the rest of the Secret Seven called in sick because of an accident with Shade. And Batman says, does that mean you're not coming? And she says, oh, quite the contrary. And she like does this spell and she appears. She goes from being a hologram to actually being on the plane.
Oh,
and
lit.
She's like all handsy on the Flash. She's like, it means I need to find a new team. And she says, oh, who's your friend in the scarlet and gold? Like she's like all over the Flash. and Batman says his name is the Flash. Okay. Notice how she say, oh, they call in sick. Like, oh, they're indisposed. They can't be here. Okay. Not hint, wink, wink.
Oh my God, I can't.
So they jump from the jet into the battlefield, and currently it's Shazam, Element Woman, Cyborg, the Pet Tiger, Batman, Flash, and Huntress. Okay?
Nice.
So what happened to Shade and the rest of the Secret Seven? Why they calling sick?
Yeah.
Well, so this is when we go from the Flashpoint main title of the event to the Flashpoint Secret 7 tie-in, right? And it starts with Shade, the changing man, being in a diner, minding his own business, just having a dinner by himself. And then out of nowhere, this purple-looking butterfly appears to Shade.
Man, she curvy as hell.
Right? Crazy. Supposedly, she was 12 years old, so I don't know.
I'll take that back, y'all.
No, but it's not you. Like, they decided. Ain't no 12-year-old look like this. I don't know. There's some conflicting information.
Bro, that's some pedophile looking dude then that did that shit. The fuck? What 12-year-old looks like that?
So, what matters here...
Take that shit out. Take it all out.
What matters here is that Shade is like, oh, I don't know why Black Orchid is here, but something is wrong because Black Orchid is dead. She died 2 years ago.
Oh, shit.
He starts fighting with this vision. Then he busts out of the diner and he has this all crazy looking Vision's chasing him, and then out of nowhere, he is summoned away to this place called Meta. Meta is like the world where you have these engineer people create the invest for the changing men. Right? Shade is one of the changing men, and they wear this item called the invest that gives them their powers. They summon Shade to run tests and check what the hell was wrong with his invest specifically. Because the visions and seeing weird stuff is not supposed to happen.
Okay.
Basically, they're saying it's malfunctioning. So they wanna find out what's wrong with it, and they wanna fix it. Long story short, Shade's mind was actively trying to delete his memories of the previous Secret Seven.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're currently on the second team. There used to be a team before, and the members were Black Orchid, the little butterfly purple girl, Trigon, Clarion, Simon Magus, Stiletto, Miss X, and Shade. Those were the members. Why was the Invest or Shade trying to delete his memories of that team? Well, maybe it was a defense mechanism, since the entire team opted for a Jonestown farewell, if you know what I mean. They drank the Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay.
So all of them drank the Kool-Aid except Shade.
I'm fucking good.
The chief engineer had another theory, though. He thought Shade was responsible for their demise. He wasn't sure, but he thought that the malfunctioning Shade's vest might have caused their death. That they're trying to go through his memories to see if they can actually see what happened. But they found out the memories were deleted from his mind.
Ooh.
And when he said that he thought that Shade killed him, Shade heard that. He was like, I ain't killed nobody. I ain't killed nobody. He was like actively pushing back against those allegations.
Accusations.
Accusations. So, okay, so back at the diner, now there's the police. The news are there. It's a whole scene. He left the diner in a mess, right? But somebody was on the prowl that night. Somebody is coming through, and it was the Enchantress, right? The Enchantress is a team member of Secret Seven, the new Secret Seven, right? Because Orchid and the other ones died 2 years ago. This is now in the present. So Enchantress is looking for a clue or anything that will lead to the whereabouts of Shade. She finds this piece of clothing left behind by him, and she says, well, it's not nothing. We can still do something with this, right? And you can tell she's all evil looking, and she got big titties for some reason.
I mean, she's evil. She gotta have big titties.
Exactly. It's that rule, like in anime, right?
Yeah.
If they are pretty and evil,
big
titties.
They just balance right there.
Yeah. But the titty will come back into play. I promise you. I'm not just saying that just to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. So she goes back to her lair, and she starts to conjure out this little spell with the piece of clothing from Shade. And as you can see, like she can see him crashing out on her little potion cauldron, and she makes a spell to make the madman come to her. Funny how she's gripping that with both hands.
I also noticed that.
Right?
Yeah.
It first was the busty 12-year-old, and now it's the weird looking magical spell.
There's something going on here. Who did this art? Okay.
Let's get going.
Bro, what the fuck?
So the spell immediately has its desired effect. Basically, it reaches Shade at the meta world, and he starts to like have visions and go crazy, and he's screaming, "Help me!" because he doesn't know what's happening. And then out of nowhere, he like cracks open his vest, right? And then all this weird looking Beetlejuice stuff starts to come out. This is some shit you'll see in Beetlejuice.
Yo, I'm dead. It's definitely Beetlejuice art.
Look, like all the engineers are afraid for their life. They don't know what's going on. This is not supposed to happen. And then back the Enchantress layer, like she lost contact with Shade. So she's like, okay, maybe it's gone. So this is where it gets a little bit more wicked, right? The chief engineer explained to Shade what he thought was going on, like fully, right? He said, your subconsciousness is trying to like block those memories of your previous thing of what happened. And now when Cyborg reach out to you and try to recruit you to put a new team together and come join him in the fight, you couldn't take the pressure of facing the idea of being a leader again, not after what happened to the original 7. And Shade stands on his belief that, oh no, they committed suicide. I don't remember killing anyone. But the chief says, of course you don't. Those memories have been already erased. So there's like an internal struggle in there, right? But once Shade calmed down, the engineer was like, oh, here he is. Kill him.
Really?
Yeah, because Shade was definitely crashing out of control, malfunctioning, however you want to dice that up. And the chief decided that it was safer to get rid of him and kill him rather than to let him be free because he could kill more people.
Yeah.
But one of the other engineers like, oh no, you can't kill him. He's still a change man. Like we don't kill the changing man here. But before they could do anything, Shade was like, all right, this is the end of the line. And he says some decrypting lines like, in that sleep of death, what dreams may come? Like, oh, what happens after death? Right? He was ready for it. And then out of nowhere, some magic starts to take Shade away, and he is summoned away from the meta world into the layer of Enchantress.
Oh shit!
Right? So it did work. Now, after she explained how she summoned him, she's like, "Oh, you must be wondering why I brought you here." And Shade is like, "No, I have better things to do. I must gather the rest of the 7." And she grabs Shade by the hair like a little bitch. She's like, you want to know why I brought you here?
Oh, damn.
and she gets like,
can't ignore no woman.
Yeah. She's like, you're not going to ignore me. And she gets pushed away. So the Embes was screaming, danger, 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 right? And Shade picked up on that. I was like, oh my God, my vest is picking up the most insane images. You need help, right? Like he basically said, you're crazy. And she says, yes, of course I do. That's why I call you. That's why I summon you here. And she says, what you're sensing from me is only like part of me. The nighttime part, basically the witch. But there's another side, the June Moone side. There's like another personality, another person inside of me. I don't know what happened to her. I haven't seen her in years. And I feel like we lost touch. She might be lost forever. I need your help to get her back, to find her. And she won over Shade by pleading to his team leader pride. You know, I'm in need of help. You, my team leader, you wouldn't let me, suffer through this problem alone. And Shade is like, I'm sorry, June. June Moone will be buried somewhere deep in your subconsciousness. I will help you, but I'm not ready to go poking around and she says, such a what? What are you implying here? And she says, a dark and filthy place, talking about her mind.
Yeah.
Shade was not willing to commit to travel into the mind of the witch, no matter, once again, the witch got her way by enchanting Shade. Or maybe it was something to do with her cleavage. Again, this is what she looks like.
Ay, Dios mío. Santísimo, yeah.
So, next thing we know, Shade found himself fighting for his life inside the mind of Enchantress, where June Moone was being held hostage by this Minotaur creature. So that's June Moone in the dress. She was in some sort of castle, running for her life, and then Shade appeared right there, and he got basically pierced by this Minotaur with one of his horns. So I don't know how much help he was able to give in that condition.
Yeah.
So basically the witch's mind pushed back on Shade and they kind of like disconnected. Shade apologized for him because he failed to reach June. Like he saw her, but he couldn't do anything. We know that. We saw that, right? Hint, hint. And he says, look, it couldn't be helped. I tried, but I couldn't help her out. I know where she is. I can't get her. Now I need you to help your side of the bargain and help me with the malfunctioning Embis. And as he was saying that, something happened out of nowhere. The Enchantress starts like levitating. And the next thing we know, Enchantress is no more. Here we got June Moone. She was free.
Why she look like that, bro? She looked like she trying to trap this man into making her baby daddy, bro. Look at that pose, yo. She was like, I mean, but like now that you're here, though,
the Instagram model ass pose,
bro. I'm just here, ready to show my hair, or you know, qué sé yo qué diablo, algo random, y lo que están enseñando es el culo.
Listen to what she says. She says, "Hello, Shade. I'm June. I really hope we're going to get along fine."
Oh my Jesus Christ. Oh my Lanta. Bro, this woman is some trouble.
In the next issue, you could tell that June and Gru were growing close immediately, especially June. She was like coming on to Shade. And Shade was clearly wary because he couldn't ignore the fact that the witch was still inside her. It was just like two people in the same body. But he was not able to ignore her beauty and her words of encouragement she always had for him. There was also that cleavage. Here we have a new character. Her name is Amy Amethyst. Right? She's a member of the new Secret Seven. And while she was at work, she was being summoned by Shade. Remember, he needed to gather them. Now, when the summoning was happening, this weird monster came out of nowhere and started to hurt Amy, right? Even though this wasn't the first time she had been summoned by Shade, this was the actual first time where she was being hurt by the summoning. So when she appeared and arrived in front of Shade, Amy immediately let Shade know that his summoning powers almost killed her. Shade wasn't trying to hurt her, so yeah, something was malfunctioning with the vest, but he was not acknowledging that fact yet. For some reason, Amy took one look at June and instantly disliked her. She was like, and you, what are you looking at? Right? Yeah, what are you looking at, Blondie? And she's blonde too. I don't know why she said blondie like that. Now, the second member that we see, his name was Abracadabra. He was a magician, like a stage performer. And while he was sitting in the green room waiting the call to go perform, something occurred. And Cadabra was being summoned by Shade too, right? But Abracadabra struggled with the summoning too and ultimately failed. He didn't go, he stayed back. Then we see Raven, the Raven from this universe, being attacked by all these like bat-like demon creatures. And she's like running for her life, basically. Also, she was being summoned too, but it malfunctioned, so she was being attacked, right? And, you know, same as Cadabra. She was being summoned, but the spell was actually hurting her. Then Satana makes her appearance, the Satana from this world. And she sees Raven fighting for her life. And she says, I know what's going on. I'm having the same issue. And she concluded that something must have gone wrong with Shade, right? She said, it's finally happened, Raven. Mental breakdown. Our boy's out of control. They think they're being attacked by Shade at this point. Now, the final member, his name is Mindward. And while he was minding his own business, he also was being summoned by Shade, but the summoning hurt him to the point that he collapsed and started to have seizures. Like he almost died too. So while everyone was being assaulted by Shade's efforts, he was struggling with visions of Black Orchid again. And Shade reminisced the words from Saga Maximus, the chief engineer. And he started to have his own doubts, right? Because he heard the chief saying that they believed he had killed the previous Secret Seven. So he started to like give into those ideas that maybe that's what happened. And then Amy walked into Shade having those weird visions, and she's like, what's wrong with you, right? Because she can't see what he's seeing. But Shay wasn't even sure what was real anymore, because in one side he's looking at Black Orchid, that's clearly there, and the other side it's Amy. And he's like, Amy, are you real? But Amy shared her thoughts on Shade's condition and her theory of whose fault might be. Hint, hint. She tells Shade, maybe it's her, that June blondie girl with the big boobs. She's doing this to you. She's unraveling your senses. But Shade didn't want to hear it. He was in love.
Claro.
Right. Amy had a couple more words for Shade. She said, I prefer her when she was Enchantress. At least then you knew where you were. This blonde bitch. Suddenly, when Amy said those words, the Embes reacted and lashed out against Amy, and the images were very telling.
Let's see. Jesus.
She said, and then Shade is crashing out. He's like, shut your stupid, immature mouth. This was coming out of his words. Sus. Of course, this was unacceptable behavior from Shade, and Amy let him know that this was not going to be tolerated again. You touch me like that again, I'll kill you, basically.
Ooh,
yeah.
Period.
Yeah. But right then and there, June Moone walks on the two of them, and she was suspicious of all the ruckus. And she says, you were meant to be calling the rest of the 7. She sees this flower on the floor that was probably left behind from the failed summoning of Cadabra. Remember all those flowers? June wondered about the flowers. She's like, what's this? Right? You're here with this other blonde girl, flowers on the floor. She was on the floor when I walked in. What's going on here, Shade? What are you two up to? All right, so if there was any doubts, you can rest assured they were gone. Shade and June were officially an item. June had Shade out here citing poetry. Our guy was over the moon. All right, you can see?
I think I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Why did I hire with that cake out like that?
I don't know. They gave her like the Rogue pose from the X-Men show, remember?
Oh my God, the fuck? The fucking Rogue pose. Yeah. Everybody has made a meme out of that.
Basically.
Yo.
So later that night, June woke up alone, missing Shade from her bed. She went looking for him. There were some faint crying noises coming from Amy's room. So she followed them. When she walked in the room, Shade was there, to everyone's horror, of course. June found Shade holding Amy's lifeless body. Shade wasn't sure what happened, just that he might have been the one that killed her.
What the hell?
And it was pretty, like, bloody, messy, pretty bad.
Damn.
Like, there was even blood under the mattress. Look at that. For some reason, I wouldn't even try to explain. Shade tried using the Embes to revive Amy. And if you read her dialogue, it sounds like it was Black Orchid talking instead of Amy. Because she was like repeating some of the same stuff the visions, the Black Orchid of the visions was saying. Right? And of course, June was horrified by this, because Amy's body was basically like a puppet, like a reanimated puppet. It wasn't really an alive person. So she pulled a WWE move when she hit Amy with the chair. For the 1, 2, 3.
Yo, literal, así es que se ven las mujeres de hoy con las peleas.
Yeah, straight out of a female wrestling match. Believing more and more the words from the chief engineer, Shay confessed out loud that he was the one who killed the original 7, just like he killed Amy. But this was awful timing for Shay, because Satana, Raven, and Mind Warp happened to arrive at the same time Shay was spouting off his confession.
Damn, it's like a telenovela.
I'm telling you, this is soap opera.
Yeah.
And Satana is like, oh, good thing that you're confessing. It'll save us having to beat the truth out of you.
Oh, damn.
So before they put hands on each other, they all had words for Shade about how they were hurt by his summons, right? They were like breaking it down to him what happened. And Shade had a kind of argument, right? Because a lot of it was like weird visions that they all had, except Mind Warp. Mind Warp just passed out, right? Amy had like that weird, ugly looking guy. Raven had all of those demon bird lookings. Satana said that her bike turned into her father and was attacking her. But Shade's counter argument was, oh, come on. I'm not going to take the blame for everything. You had those demons long before I came along. Poor choice of words, if you ask me.
And before I came along.
Like, y'all were crazy before I met you. Like, that was probably y'all. Right? He's still in denial.
I'm dead.
So Satana clearly agrees with me about the poor choice of words. So she puts a spell on Shade, and he says, hurt his guts. Satana pushed Shade for answers. What did he do to the old Secret Seven? Hey, did you put these suicidal thoughts in their minds? Like, what happened? How did you kill them? Okay, so finally, Shade admitted that something was wrong with his vest. He said, I don't know why my signals were hurting you. It shouldn't be like that. Something has to be very wrong. Like, finally, he's like, okay, guys, I believe you, right? But they were basically bullying him at this point. So his new girlfriend, June Moone, she's seen enough. She's like, leave him alone. Even though she just saw him
a dead corpse.
with the corpse, lifeless corpse of Amy. She's like, that's my man. I'm gonna stick beside him.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, ADHD. Okay.
June was like, he's getting confused. Like, leave him alone. And Satana's like, stay out of this, June. But June, and I'm making air quotes here, said not to call her June. Hint, hint. She says, don't call me June. And she transformed into Enchantress.
Oh, shit.
June is not her whole persona. She's also Enchantress. So she stood up against the group by herself. And she started attacking all of them at the same time. And seemingly she was trying to take their voices away from them. Like, that's what the powers look like to me. But Satana retaliated. This was now a battle of enchantments and magicians, right? She said, I had enough of these witches' tantrums. And she says, tear her apart. And then you see here Enchantress body being this morph and all weird and shit. Looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough to actually put her down. So she started to fight back against Satana. She sent some spell her way. Then Shade, he's in the back trying to talk to Raven, right? He pleaded to Raven to stop the fighting before Enchantress killed Satana and the rest of them. He asked Raven to revert Enchantress back to June. And then Raven, she went for it. She started to summon, her crowd powers or crow powers or whatever they are. And for a second there, Enchantress got distracted by this whole spectacle, right? And while she was distracted, Manwart got behind her and started to use his ghost ability to mess with her synapses. So he basically paralyzed her. And basically, hey, if you move, I'm gonna give you seizures for life. That was the vibe. That was the threat. And then Mindwarp and Raven were getting ready to absorb the witch from June and end the whole fiasco, right? But at that moment, it was there where seemingly June, quote unquote, surfaced and pleaded to Shade to save her, right? She's all here, oh QC, Shade, please, I don't want to be absorbed. We'll stop fighting, I promise. If I meant anything to you, Shade, help me.
And that's like the exorcism when they try to get that demon out. Y al final, they're just pulling the
demon lets the little girl out. Mom, please. Yeah. Basically, Shade felt compelled to June's plead. He was in love with her and her charms. Also, that cleavage was in full display.
Still,
yeah, look. That's her right there. And that's his face.
Ay, santísimo.
So Shade stepped in and stopped them, right? He kind of turned him into these sculpture looking things. And Enchantress noticed that they were now in a vulnerable state. He called it a moratorium pause or something like that. So Enchantress did what any vengeful, bloodthirsty night witch would do. She killed them when they were vulnerable. So now Raven, and Mind Warp are dead. When she shattered those statues, they basically exploded too. Like bloods and guts everywhere.
God damn.
Satana, being done with the whole thing, she spoke her ultimate death spell. Basically, she said, death spell, kill her. And Enchantress started to foam bloods and guts out of her mouth. She was dying in Shade's arms. And Shade pleaded to Satana to revert the spell, but this was no ordinary spell. Satana was also dying. This death spell took the caster with it as well. So Satana started to like dematerialize or turn into dust, basically. Satana died right then and there by her own spell. You know, she did the ultimate sacrifice in order to stop the witch.
Yeah.
Crazy. Everybody dying around Shade again.
Yeah.
Or are they?
What you mean? Ay, Dios mío. I can't when you do this shit.
So that's when Shade heard the laughter coming from behind him. When he turned around, Enchantress survived the onslaught from the new Secret Seven, and she used Shade to kill them. She said, Enchantress, I thought Satana's death spell killed you. Sure, it hurt, but I don't get to where I am without a little plan. And now, I believe our time together is over. You called me to help you find June Moone. Like, why you mean over? Like, I'm dating June. Where are you going? Right?
Damn, she looks so evil.
And she says, you've been right about one thing, Shade. You're not cut out to be a leader. And he says, all this was planned? And she says, yeah, but I couldn't have done it without you. Oh my God. This whole time, that spell from the very beginning, it was for this. He tried to summon everybody after the spell. Notice how the best kept getting worse and worse and worse, right? So the new Secret Seven was, as Enchantress put it earlier in this post, calling sick because of something that happened with Shade.
That's insane.
Look at this room. Just bloods and guts and dead bodies everywhere. And, you know, there's Shade in that corner, just, you know, having possibly a mental breakdown.
PTSD after that shit.
So, why did all of this happen?
Yeah.
Well, Penthesilea, among many other things, cut a deal with Enchantress behind Wonder Woman's back. Who's Penthesilea? Well, Penthesilea was the sister of the late Queen Hippolyta, and she was the aunt of Queen Wonder Woman. She had formed an alliance with Orm, the brother of Emperor Aquaman, and together they conspired to steer the two kingdoms into war, and they succeeded.
That's crazy.
Like I said before, Enchantress put a spell on Shade from the very beginning that made his Envest malfunction. Hence why all of the summoning efforts almost killed the Secret Seven. Like she broke it down to Penthesilea. Enchantress did all that work, and in return, Penthesilea promised she would get rid of June Moone forever, so she could be permanently the Enchantress. So, what ended up happening to Shade? Do you know?
Tell me.
He ended up in a dimension called the Area of Madness. So this is where he ended up going or traveling to, the Area of Madness. I'm sure if you read Shade, the Changing Man from Vertigo, you know what this is. I don't.
Some drama.
This is crazy, right?
Is some drama.
This is just the story of Enchantress.
Jesus.
We're almost done. In any case, this was the conclusion to the story of Shade, the Changing Man in the Flashpoint. But you can follow the story of Shade after the Flashpoint reboot in the new 52 Justice League Dark series. Like you said, this story of the Secret Seven was so good that DC gave Peter Milligan the green light to continue working with these characters and a few others, right? Like the creation of the Justice League Dark. So now that we know what happened to the Secret Seven, we go back to this moment. Enchantress is here in the battlefield, surrounded by the heroes. Now we know she's a double agent, right? She already took care of the Secret Seven. So there they are in the middle of the battlefield. Shazam, or Captain Thunder, I should say, immediately goes after Wonder Woman, of course. You know, he has an axe to grind with her. Everybody else is struggling in the battlefield. And when Captain Thunder had Wonder Woman dead to rights, she started to use her magic to put a spell on Captain Thunder, and Batman was the one who notices first. He's like, what are you doing? And her spell breaks apart Captain Thunder into the 6-7 kids. So they say Shazam to summon Captain Thunder. Enchantress said Shazam to basically send him away. And now you have in the middle of this war zone, this battlefield, like these children. And Mary tried to say Shazam to summon Captain Thunder again, but they're like under the spell. They can't use it. Right? And that's when Wonder Woman realized that, you know, they were just children, especially Billy, right? He was just a little kid. That's when Penthesilea took advantage of the situation and she stabbed Billy Batson from the back, effectively eliminating Captain Thunder from the fight.
Yeah.
So Captain Thunder was gone. Now they were like at a bigger disadvantage because they have one less hero on the field to fight, but they also have now 5 children that they got to protect, right? So Cyborg and Element Woman are not even fighting. They're just trying to like cover these 2 kids. Enchantress is going buck wild. She's just having the time of her life, right? When things started to look pretty bad, you know, getting from bad to worse, the resistance showed up, right? And it's like the rest of the people that they have recruited plus Grifter and his squad, right? You have the Canterbury Cricket, Grifter, the Outsider showed up, Mrs. Hyde, Etrigan the Demon, Blackout, and I can't remember the blonde girl's name, but she's from Grifter's crew. So they're here now. They're trying to turn the tide of this fight, but Enchantress is just too powerful, right? She's like hitting them up with like all these her little green powers, right? And she's like having the time of her life.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
She's hitting Batman. She's hitting Etrigan, you name it. She's like taking command of the battlefield. And she tried to go for the children, but like I said, Element Woman and Cyborg were like protecting them, right? And out of nowhere, this loud noise starts to like drown the area, and then everybody look up and Flash says, I knew it. And then you can see we're back to that first picture. This is Enchantress, and her story is about to end.
Is it?
She is about to meet her witchy maker.
Her maker. Let's see.
Superman, Subject 1, decided to join them in the fight, and he immediately went for the Enchantress. A fitting end.
A fitting end for sure. Indeed.
For
A fitting
the
end.
scummiest character in the Flashpoint.
God. By the time somebody squashed her ass, she been doing the most.
Outside of Orm and Penthesilea, who like push 2 separate kingdoms to go to war, I would say Enchantress was the 3rd person to do the most damage in this world.
I'll agree.
Like hands down. I don't know. I just think like her story like goes like under the radar in comparison to like all the other crazy things that were happening. But she did a lot. She took out basically Satana, Mind Warp, Shade,
Raven.
I don't know. I think she should get more credit as a villain in comic books. What you think?
Yeah.
Like when you put it all together and you see it like back to back to back like that, it actually informs better the influence that this one throwaway seemingly right character had over this entire world.